math humans. We're going to do 7.3b today. We're going to be talking about multivariable systems and modeling, which means word problems. So I've written down the first word problem for us, and then you can take the time to copy it down. I would recommend that you pause, and then I will move that out of the way and we'll start doing the problem. So we're going to have an inheritance of $12,000 that was invested among three funds. We have a money market fund that pays 3% annually, municipal bonds that are going to pay 4% annually, and mutual funds that pay 7% annually. The amount of interest invested, the amount invested in the mutual funds was $4,000 more than the amount invested in municipal bonds. The total interest earned during the first year was $670. How much was invested in each type of fund? So I'm assuming that you're going to pause and write that down because it's helpful to know what the problem actually says. So the way that I'm going to start the problem is I'm going to start by defining my variables. So for example 1, my doggy just joined us. I have X is going to equal the amount in the money market funds. And then I have Y is equal the amount in the municipal bonds. Can't spell. Whew, that was rough. And then Z is going to equal the amount in the mutual funds. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of write an equation as I read. So I know that I'm going to get an inheritance of $12,000, and I'm going to split it up between these three. So I'm going to say X plus Y plus Z is going to equal the $12,000. And then I know that the first one's going to pay 4%. Is that correct? 3%. 3% for X. And then I'm going to have 4% for Y and 7% for Z. And the amount of interest that I earn is going to be $670. And then I have Z is equal to Y plus 4,000. Okay, and that was my next to last sentence. I'm going to rewrite this equation as 0 negative Y plus Z is equal to 4,000. So now what I'm going to do is to solve this system of equations. I have three variables and three equations. I'm going to solve it using matrices. So the first equation is 1, 1, 1, and then the 12,000. And it's technically an augmented matrix because the answers are included in the matrix. And then I have 0.03, 0.04, 0.07, 670. And then I have 0, negative 1, 1, and 4,000. So now what I'm going to do is bring in my handy dandy calculator. I'm going to quit and clear. So I'm going to go to my matrices and I'm going to edit. And just for grins, this time I'm going to edit B. And I'm going to tell my calculator that B is a 3 by 4. And then I'm going to enter my matrix. And I'm going to scoot my calculator over just a little bit. I have 1, 1, 1, 12,000. And then it's 0.03, 0.04, 0.07, 670, and then 0, negative 1, 1, and 4,000. And I go back and check 1.030, 1.04, negative 1, 1267. Okay, and we do have to pay attention that we did this in matrix B. So now I'm going to do quit, second matrix. I'm going to go to math. I'm going to cruise down to RREF, hit enter, and then I'm going to go back in and tell it which matrix, and remember we chose matrix B, and then I hit enter, and it tells me that the amount invested at X is going to be $2,000, the amount invested for Y is going to be $3,000, and then the amount invested for Z is going to be $7,000. So there you go. So one of the things that I recommend that you do when you're solving a word problem is to take it one sentence at a time and write as you read. Alrighty, so now I'm going to bring in our next example. Okay, keep my handy dandy little green paper there. The second example says that a small corporation is going to borrow $800,000 to expand its line of toys. Some of the money was borrowed at 8%, some at 9%, some at 10%. How much was borrowed at each rate if the annual interest owed was $67,000 and the amount borrowed at 8% was 5 times the amount borrowed at 10%? So I had written a little note to myself. Notice that this is simple interest. It's not any other kind of interest. Alrighty, let me scoot that back down so you can see. If it's not specified, we have to assume that it's simple interest. Then this is a big investment, so it's in the company's, or it's in our interest to have it be simple interest and not compound. So if we go ahead and start doing the problem, I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the last one. I'm going to start by defining my variable. So x is going to equal the amount at 8%. Y is going to equal the amount at 9%. And z is going to equal the amount at 10%. And then I'm going to write as I read. So it said in the first sentence that I'm going to borrow $800,000. So the amount of money invested at each rate is going to equal the $800,000. And then I have my interest, so 0.08x plus 0.09y plus 0.10z is going to equal, and it tells me that the interest owed was $67,000. And then it tells me that the amount borrowed at 8%, which is x, is equal to 5 times the amount borrowed at 10%. And again, I'm going to rewrite this equation as x and then plus 0y minus 5z is equal to 0. Alrighty? So now let's go ahead and put this into a matrix, because that's how we're going to solve. So I have 1, 1, 1, 800,000. And then I have 0.08, 0.09, 0.10, 67,000, 1, 0, negative 5, 0. Alrighty, I'm going to go and bring my calculator back in just so we can practice. I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go to matrix, and I'm going to edit. This time I'm going to edit A, and if I put in my values, I'm going to, oops, it's still a 3 by 4, and I have 1, 1, 1, 800,000, and then I have 0.08, 0.09, 0.10, and 67,000, and then 1, 0, negative 5, and 0. And then I go in and check. There's my 1081, 1090, 110, negative, and it looks pretty good. So on this one, I'm just going to do second enter, and I'm going to go back in and just change the matrix to A instead of B, and then I'm going to hit enter. And notice then that it tells me the amount invested for X is $625,000. Woohoo! Y is going to be 50,000, and then Z is going to be 125,000. So being able to use our grapher makes these problems significantly easier. All right, my dears, that is it for today. I will see you soon.